I've been selling on Amazon for almost 3 years now. And recently I was reminiscing and thinking about knowing what I know now, and I'm constantly learning by the day. What are a few things I would have implemented from day one? And I thought it'd be a really valuable video. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share with you 5 different things that I wish I did from day one. And that if you're new in the journey or really at any stage, could start implementing into your business. And by the way, I did get a couple things right by doing or not doing from the get go, and I'm going to share those with you as well. So, first up, what I think to be the most important and we'll spend the most amount of time on is the emphasis on tracking products from day one. When you're doing arbitrage, specifically online arbitrage, you're going to come across and filter out hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of products. And once you do all the research on them, you've pretty much put in 99% of the work. Okay, you've already put in all this sunk cost. Don't let it go to waste. So, for things you do buy, have an Excel sheet or a page on an Excel sheet or Google Sheets, whatever you want to use, the ASIN, where you bought it, what you paid for it, any other notes like this percentage cashback is why it made sense. I bought it when it was typically out of stock. Any other notes or little tidbits with links to where you bought it will suffice. But no matter what, you want to have it. And here's why. What's going to happen is you're going to start selling and seeing thousands and thousands of products. You're going to forget about all these products in a couple of weeks or months. And so every couple months, what you can do is go back to everything you've already bought. Again, you've already put in the work and revisit. Do I need more of this? Are there other variations of this? Is there a similar sale or other site selling this product? Oh, wow, it did sell a lot. I didn't even notice it because it's really hard to stay on top of all of your products. Again, you've already done the work, keep track of them. But by the way, not just the ones you did buy. A couple other tabs that I keep, for instance, are out of stock items. These are great. You simply have a link to all of the sites that carry this product that are out of stock, and literally every single day, you can click on it. If it's a good seller and you check every day, odds are you will eventually get your hands on it and be the first one or one of the first ones to have it back in stock, meaning you can get more sales and at a higher price. And another thing that I think to be very valuable is products that are good sellers, but nowhere near enough profit. And the reason I think this is valuable is because a lot of other sellers will just let it go. And especially at the time of filming this, we're close to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Even if it's only once or twice a year, you might get an opportunity to have a cashback day where it's like Rakuten's 30% cashback and the site is 30% off, creating enough margin on a product that typically 95% of the year, there isn't enough margin no matter what you do. So again, you've already done the work researching this product, save it in another tab. And when those big holidays come around, go give them another revisit. Trust me, this will be worth its weight in gold. All right, next up, let's talk about a software I wish I started using from day one. And I should give you some background. I'm really big on being lean. I only use Inventory Lab, Keepa, SellerAmp, and I have a REPRICER that's called Profit Protector Pro. So really what I think to be a very lean, essential amount of softwares. But Inventory Lab, I don't think it's talked about enough. People always mention Keepa and SellerAmp. Inventory Lab is something that is like a jack of all trades type of thing, but so good. If you do Amazon, you're going to have to prep and pack your items and get them ready to send off to Amazon. Okay. Now, some people use prep centers, but very rarely out of the gate. And even if they do use prep centers, very rarely 100%. So you are going to be doing prepping and packing at some level, especially early on, most likely, or at least you should be, in my opinion, to learn. But anyway, you can create shipments in Amazon Seller Central, which is how I started, or you can use Inventory Lab. And I'm sure there's other ones out there, but Inventory Lab makes creating shipments an absolute breeze, especially relative to Amazon Seller Central. And I can speak from firsthand experience. I did both. Inventory Lab, I think has a 30-day free trial. At least when I signed up, it does. And not only is the shipments, that's just one small piece of the pie, even though that would be worth its weight in gold. Also, you're going to enter your product cost, and it also links to Amazon so it knows what they sell for. So you can easily track your profit and loss. You can add expenses that you wouldn't be putting in to basically make this a one-stop shop for accounting, running your monthly profit and loss statements. Furthermore, you can pull reports on like what's my most profitable item, what's my most profitable supplier, how much sales value do I have it tied up in inventory right now. And also, I love doing product research on my laptop in Inventory Lab. They have a research tool. You can type in keywords, copy and paste ASINs or whatever it is. You can use your nice whole big screen, and it's a great way to do product research instead of having to squint or look at your phone. So when I'm home, I do that. Sometimes, especially early on when I was doing retail arbitrage, I would take a picture of a section at a store, come home, go into IL, into the research section, type in every single keyword I can imagine for those products, create a shopping list, and go back out. Go back out. Overall, I absolutely love Inventory Lab. I don't think it gets enough love. If you're creating shipments, you need it. It's great for scanning and just everything else I mentioned. I wish I had Inventory Lab from day one, and I strongly suggest if you're not using it at any stage, it'll be very, very worth it. And I think it's $69 a month. Alrighty, so moving along, number three, I would connect with other Amazon sellers much earlier on in the process. And so, yes, I create content on YouTube and Instagram. So naturally, I kind of rub elbows with other people doing the same. But even if you're not someone that wants to do that, you don't want to document the journey, whatever the case may be. But by the way, if you are into that, you can also monetize YouTube one day, maybe sell coaching or courses, another little additional income stream. But really, the point is this: you'll start seeing other people. You just happen to like their style, the way they talk, their approach. And you'll also find some that are similar in similar parts of the journey, similar in sales. You can just kind of get a feel for it. And simply enough, you can reach out and say, hey, love what you're doing, love your content, continued success. Or reach out and say, hey, I see that you're continuing to grow. I don't know what categories you do. Here's a sale I saw on this site. Check out this product. Here's an ASIN to get you going. A lot of these products, if you share them, it's not going to tank. And especially people that know what they're doing, there's a lot of products out there and a lot of sites out there. You basically couldn't buy too much of the product. You're capped on how many you can buy, and they sell so fast, or there's so much variety opportunity that it's irrelevant. Not to mention, they're going to reciprocate. And now you can kind of build some rapport, right? Send each other a couple leads, open up some conversations, and get the ball rolling. I'm not saying it's going to change your life, but just think about this. If I have three other Amazon sellers at my level, and we each share with each other 2 to 3 leads, even just a month, that's not only going to be those products, but it's going to open our eyes to those brands, those sites, those sales. And now we can pick each other's brains, or if we have an account health issue, we can ask each other. It's a really, really valuable tool. Lead with some value, offer them something, show them a good lead, a good sale, and just know it will grow your business exponentially. It's a great, great tool. I wish I did that earlier on in the journey. Next one's pretty simple. It's going to be my credit card. I should have been using this credit card from day one. I have a 2% cashback credit card. And the thing is, especially with online arbitrage, it's very capital intensive. And I'm spending between, let's call it $30,000 and $35,000 a month. So for a round number, let's call it $400,000 a year. That 2% credit card is going to get me back $8,000 a year tax free. So that one's pretty cut and dry. If you're going to be doing this, for one, it's great to get that cash back, but also as a whole, I treat this as a business. Your business expenses should definitely be separate from day one. And especially, you might as well be maximizing your cashback percentages. Next up, let's talk about cashback extensions, the fifth one. Okay. Rakuten, Top Cashback, Rebates Me, Capital One Shopping, and there's a couple more out there. It's free money. You're shopping anyway. The amount that you earn is tax free. For anybody not familiar how it works, basically a retailer works with them to say, hey, if you get us a sale of a customer, we'll give you a percentage of the sale. And then they come to us, Rakuten and them come to us and say, here's a percentage of the percentage we got. This way, everybody is incentivized. And this really adds up. Like I said, I spent 35 grand a month, let's say. I would say I average no less than 3 to 5% cash back on sites like these, which really add up over the course of a year, as you can do the math. Okay. So those are the 5 things: tracking your products, Inventory Lab, connect and document online, high cashback credit card, and all of the cashback extensions. Now, I should mention, I did get a couple of things right from day one, and I would double down on these. Keepa, hands down the most important tool you need to run a business. I truly don't understand how somebody does this without Keepa. It tells you how often something is selling and typically for what price, along with way more information. But just know if you have those two pieces of info, at least you can make an educated decision. If you're not using that, you're guessing at best. It's like $20 a month. That's something I got right. And you need to have Keepa. And if you don't, go get it right now. Okay. And then another thing I got right, and I alluded to this earlier, I keep it lean with the softwares. I think a lot of people early on think that softwares are going to be like the end all be all. They're going to be the reason they have success. If you don't know what you're doing with them anyway, it's irrelevant, right? Now, to round this out, I want to share with you two things I didn't do that were also correct and share my thoughts on this. This is kind of a mentality thing. You hear a lot of different discussions about ungating. I did not get ungated in very many things from day one. Now, keep in mind, I did RA for the first like 2 years. So if you're doing online arbitrage from day one, it might be a little different. The only exception to that is grocery. If you do retail arbitrage, I think that was a killer category to get started with. But so many people get caught up in spending money on getting ungated in Nike, Adidas, this, and this, right? There's enough out there. Prove your concept, prove to yourself you're willing to take action, learn the ropes, and within 6 months of a good track record, you get ungated naturally and organically in a lot of things. And then you can say, okay, I want to get ungated in this or in that. But I would not get caught up in that. And I remember being a new seller and scanning things, and you only can find so many things as a newbie. So when you find one and you're ungated, you're like, oh, if I was only ungated, I'd be making a killing. Trust me, personally, especially if you're doing retail arbitrage, I think it's overrated. Put in the work, get ungated naturally, except for grocery, and everything else will fall into place. Again, if you're starting with OA, it might be a different conversation. That's my 2 cents. Okay. And if you're on a budget, definitely avoid spending money on that stuff. Okay. And then the lastly thing I'll say is, and then lastly, as a whole, I would just say I put in the reps to learn things, right? I learned how to prep and pack. I learned how to source. Now, if I get to a point I want to exclusively use prep centers, I know what questions to ask and I know what's needed of those items. I know which ones need bubble wrap and vice versa and multi-packs. And if I do hire a VA or someone to source, I am going to share all of my proven tricks and techniques, not just say, hey, I need you to source. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm delegating it to you. Put in some time, learn how to do things, and then delegate when you get to a point that makes sense. But you got to know what you're doing first, okay? I think people like to jump to that from day one. I'm at over 50K a month in sales, and even now, I don't need a prep center, but I certainly like a prep center. I don't need a VA, and I don't use a VA. To each their own. There's no right or wrong way, but I would say you don't need that stuff from day one. Just focus on learning it yourself. So that's everything, guys. Everything. If I could go back in time from day one, I hope this provides value. And if you're early on, definitely start implementing these. And if nothing else, start tracking your products. I'm Jonathan. Duke does Amazon. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.